Hey guys, Dude11 here, and I am back with another video. Today, I'm going to do the post-game analysis of Michigan versus Army. Now, I would have recorded this video yesterday, but I had a friend over, and I was busy doing stuff with him, so... Anyway, so let's get into this game. Now, this, terrible game for Michigan, terrible game. This reminds me of that Michigan-Oklahoma game the Oklahoma-Army game from last year, where it went to double overtime, almost the same final score, except that game was 28-21, also went to double overtime. Anyway, so Michigan beat Army 24-21 in double overtime. Now, of course, when I was watching this game, heart racing towards the end. Army had a chance to win the game with a 50-yard field goal, but missed. I had a feeling that the kicker was going to miss it because he never attempted a field goal kick for Army ever until that point, and then he missed. It was 14-14 in overtime. Anyway, before that, let's just get into the scoring. Okay, so with 5:01 left of the first, Army's Sandon McCoy runs at 1 yard for a touchdown to take a 7-0 lead. Now, 24 seconds left of the first, Michigan's Zach Charbonnet runs at 2 yards into the end zone to tie the game at 7. All right, then with 2:51 left of the second quarter, Army's Kelvin Hopkins Jr. runs at 1 yard for a touchdown to take a 14-7 lead. And then in the third quarter, 2:24 left of the third, Michigan's Zach Charbonnet runs at 1 yard into the end zone to tie the game at 14. No scoring in the fourth, so it goes into overtime. In the first overtime, Army's Kelvin Hopkins Jr. runs at 6 yards to the end zone to take a 21-14 lead. Then when Michigan got the ball, Michigan's Zach Charbonnet runs at 3 yards into the end zone to tie the game at 21 to send the game to double overtime. Then Michigan starts the ball in double overtime. Jake Moody kicks a 43-yard field goal to make it 24-21. Then with Army's shot, Army fumbled it. Michigan recovered it to win the game. Army could have won this game because Army had one drive where they got to the red zone, but then Kelvin Hopkins Jr. threw an interception. If that drive ended in a touchdown, Army would have won this game. Now, here's a big problem with Michigan this season. Of fumbles. Constant turnovers on offense. And they're not interceptions either. They're fumbles. It's not Patterson's not being terrible at throwing interceptions all the time. He just keeps fumbling the football, along with Christian Turner, who fumbled in the game as well. It's just so far this season, Michigan has allowed 42 points to be scored on them. 21 against Middle Tennessee and 21 against Army. 28 of the 42 points scored on Michigan were because of Michigan turnovers on offense. Like last week, Middle Tennessee ended with 21 points where they should have only had 7 points. And Michigan should have had 54 points because that touchdown by Ronnie Bell and the pick six by Lavert Hill should have happened. So the final score of that game should have been 54-7, but instead it was 40-21. This game, the final score should have been 14-0 because the 14 points Army scored in regulation was because of Michigan turnovers. Of the two fumble recoveries. Of course, Michigan fumbled the ball like 4 times. 3 of those 4 times were turnovers where Army recovered it back. And 2 of those 3 turnovers resulted in an Army touchdown. One of them was because I think Army threw a pick or something. Anyway, so because of this game, the new rankings came out today, and Michigan dropped 3 spots to go from number 7 to become number 10. And Michigan has a bye week this upcoming week, and then they travel to Madison, Wisconsin to take on Wisconsin in 2 Saturdays from now. And if Michigan keeps playing like the way they have been, then they're going to get crushed in that game. Have you guys seen the way Wisconsin has been playing this year? They have not allowed a single point to be scored on them yet. Like in week 1, they defeated South Florida 49-0. Yesterday, they defeated Central Michigan 61-0. Well, here's Michigan allowing 42 points, and 28 of those 42 is because they keep fumbling the ball away. That's the main thing Michigan should focus on in their 2-week break. Ball security, because seriously, that needs to be fixed. This was a terrible game. an interesting game to watch. Like, if you don't really care who wins this game, and you're like watching, like, oh boy, this is such an overtime thriller game. I wonder who's gonna win. But if you're a Michigan fan, both fans in this game are upset. Army fans are upset because almost had that huge upset, could have won, kind of like that Oklahoma game last year. Almost had an upset at the biggest stadium in college football. Michigan fans are upset is because the offense play like crap. I'll give credit to the defense for being great. I mean, the defense did have some, sloppiness here and there, but the defense has been doing pretty good so far. They're not doing as terrible as the offense. Anyway, so this is probably one of the worst Michigan games. I shouldn't say probably. This is one of the worst Michigan games I've ever watched in my entire life, where they won. This offense is reminding me of the 2017 offense all over again. Where is this great offense that all of these people are saying is going to happen? Where is this great offense that Josh Gaddis has brought? So far, Pep Hamilton's offense from last year is looking better than Josh Gaddis' offense this year. Like, Jesus. Just the constant fumbles. I mean, people say, oh, it's still early in the year and they have a new offensive coordinator and they're trying to get used to it. Yeah, I understand that, but there is no excuse to why they keep fumbling that much. Is it that hard to keep onto the football? Like, seriously. If Michigan keeps playing like this, then they're not going to do good at all this year. Michigan, of course, one of the team that was expected to be great, team going into this season, expected to win the Big Ten, possibly. Some people say they could even make the playoff. But if they keep playing like this, they're not even going to get to the Big Ten championship. Seriously. Anyway, so let's go into some stats. Michigan's leading passer was Shea Patterson, who went 19 for 29 with 207 yards. Now, that's not bad. That's a pretty solid game. Patterson's problem is that he fumbled the ball twice. Off of him, I wouldn't say sack. Like, the first time he got hit and he kind of like threw the ball out. And then the second time, an Army guy came up and hit the ball out of his hands. Now, the second time might have not been Patterson's fault because he didn't see the guy coming, but still. That's the third, fourth, fifth time Patterson has fumbled this season. And if it continues, then Michigan's not going to do good at all this year. Michigan's leading rusher was Zach Charbonnet, who had 33 carries with 100 yards and 3 touchdowns. And that's another thing that I wanted to talk about. Another problem with Michigan is that they keep doing the same plays, which is like runs up the middle that only go for 2 yards. Like, I guess Michigan's starting running back is going to be Zach Charbonnet, which is a good pick. He's a 4-star recruit running back. But, geez, this is proof that this running up the middle crap didn't work. Michigan ran the ball 33 times. I'm not Michigan. Charbonnet ran the ball 33 times, and he only got 100 yards rushing. Some people can only do that in like 10, 11, 12 carries and have 100 yards. He had 33 carries. Anyway, Michigan's leading receiver was Ronnie Bell, who had 7 receptions for 81 yards. Now let's go to Army. Army's leading passer was Kelvin Hopkins Jr. Only threw the ball 4 times. 2 of them were complete for 43 yards and an interception. Army's leading rusher was Connor Slomka, who had 29 carries for 92 yards. Then Army's leading receiver was Artis Hobbs IV, or I think his name's Artis. Artis, yes. Artis Hobbs IV, who had 2 receptions for 43 yards. So Kelvin Hopkins Jr.'s only 2 receptions were to Artis Hobbs IV. Now, Army is... I'm not saying this because, Michigan played against them, but you see, like, how Army played against Oklahoma last year. Army's a surprisingly tough team, Of course, they're, like, one of those teams that do the triple option stuff all the time, And they only throw the ball, like, 3-4 times a game, and all the other times they just run, do the triple option, because that's Army. They do that every game. And last year it worked because they finished 11-2. Right now they're 1-1, and I'm pretty sure Army's going to be really good this year. And this is a thing that my high school does. They do the triple option stuff all the time, and it works. Like, back on Friday, like, they played 2 games so far. The first game they won 46-8, and then last Friday they won 48-0. So it works. But Michigan defense should have played a bit better, because as Don Brown said, they've been preparing for Army since spring practice back in April. And it's September. April was 5 months ago, so they had 5 months. They practiced for this Army offense for 5 months. And they did pretty good. I mean, they only let them score 14 points in regulation, but that was because, Michigan would turn the ball over, in which they should have resulted in a touchdown drive, but didn't work because they keep fumbling the ball away. So, let's go look at some, more stats. Go to recap. No, it's box score. So passing, Army's quarterback Kelvin Hopkins Jr. only threw it. Michigan passing, Dylan McCaffrey threw it once. Didn't have a completion though. Went 0 for 1. And another Michigan player, Michael Barrett, he threw the ball once, and it was a completion for 25 yards. And that was when Michigan did a fake punt. And it was like 4th and 10 or something, and then they faked the punt and ended up going for 25 yards. That was a great play. I thought that was, a risky chance going for it on 4th down with a fake punt for Army. But it worked out anyway. So other players who ran the ball, it was Christian Turner, who ran it 3 times for 20 yards. There was Ben Van Sumeren, who ran it once for 6 yards. And then there was Shea Patterson, 8 carries, -18 yards. Pretty sure that's all the times he got sacked. Zach Charbonnet, Nick Eubanks, Nico Collins, Sean McCune had 2 receptions. Who's this guy? Giles Jackson. He's the kick returner, and Daxton Hill had one reception. Daxton Hill had a 25-yard reception. I'm pretty sure he was the guy who caught the fake punt. Fumbles. Josh Metellus and Kwity Paye had a fumble recovery. Shea Patterson fumbled it twice, and both of those were lost. Ben Van Sumeren fumbled it once, and it was lost. Ronnie Bell fumbled it once, but it wasn't lost. So there were 4 fumbles. 3 of those 4 fumbles were lost, and they had 2 fumble recoveries. Anyway, so to wrap up this video, terrible, terrible game. Sloppy offense by this Michigan offense, and they need to get better. Or look at here. Before the season started, Michigan had like a 65-70% chance to win this game. Now it's only a 33.6. And Wisconsin's quarterback, Jack Cohn, has amazing stats. Look at this. 45 for 59, 564 yards, and 5 touchdowns already. And, of course, there's Jonathan Taylor, Wisconsin's running back, who's one of the best running backs in college football right now. Anyway, so thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already.